Hello, it's John Pollock, and this is Fight News Now, the MMA edition. Welcome to Fight News Now. It's John Pollock here with you. On tap today, you are going to hear from Glory 9 tournament winner Tyrone, Spang, UFC featherweight Cub Swanson, Johnny Hendricks, Gracie, and Chris Weidman are going to be weighing in on the Man of Steel movie on this week's edition of The Shift. Plus, we've got John Ramdine and Robin Black who are set for 3 rounds. But up now are this week's Newsmakers. The countdown is on for UFC 162, where a big debate is centering around Chris Weidman's opportunity to dethrone Anderson Silva from atop the middleweight division. George St-Pierre, Chael Sonnen, and Hendricks Gracie are among those confident in the challenger, and we hear from one of his coaches, the legendary Hendricks Gracie, discussing the reigning champion.
Anderson is a guy that rubs many people in the wrong way. He's not a humble guy. He acts, and even though he may speak humbly when he talks, when he's in the ring, he doesn't act humbly. He puts down his opponents. He acts in a way that, again, we always know what is right, what is wrong. And by looking at that, we know it's wrong. It's like you can beat your opponent, but do it with respect.
You will hear more from Hendricks Gracie coming up on 3 rounds with John Ramdine and Robin Black. We stick with the UFC 162 main event and now hear from both the challenger Chris Weidman and Silva's longtime manager Ed Suarez, who has watched Anderson run through the middleweight division of the UFC for the past 7 years.
Once the octagon door closes and you've got Anderson Silva standing across the ring from you, it's not the same game anymore. If it was easy, he wouldn't have 16 consecutive wins in the UFC and be undefeated in the UFC.
Standing guillotine, trying to lock it in. It is all over!
He'd be a fool not to respect me as a fighter. On July 6th, when we step in that cage, he's gonna have respect for me.
Weidman is extremely confident heading into their July 6th showdown, but one of the men keeping Weidman grounded is trainer Ray Longo, who is going to be in the corner of the challenger at UFC 162.
We are taking this fight very seriously. The guy obviously has made decent people look pathetic. He's a talent. I do believe he's the greatest MMA fighter there is right now. So they could take him lightly. We're definitely not taking him lightly. We're just confident in the matchup, in the stylistic matchup, that Chris could get the job done. But by no means, nobody is taking this guy lightly. We know how accurate he is. We know how confident he is. He's cool, calm under pressure. This guy's got the attributes to be where he is, and that's where he is, You know, he's unbelievable.
That will either sound brilliant or insane in 2 weeks. UFC 162 is also going to feature a very intriguing featherweight bout, as former lightweight champion Frankie Edgar will have his second bout at 145 pounds inside of the UFC when he meets Charles Olivera. After 7 straight title fights, this will be Edgar's first non-title fight since 2009, while Olivera looks to rebound following his loss to Cub Swanson last September.
These last fights, it's almost like taking second place, you know?
I felt that those fights were split decisions or close.
And he gets a takedown.
I really didn't lose bad, and if some people thought I won.
Frankie's on top, guillotine attempt.
I felt that Frankie should have won.
And I would say, right when I said that, he dropped him.
It's like taking second place in a wrestling tournament, and it kind of stings.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the former UFC lightweight champion, Frankie, the Edgar!
He never stops. When you're watching the UFC, finish the fight that he want to see, he hits on us, let's go train. This is 10:54 at night. He's like, let's go train. It's 11 o'clock at night, it's Saturday. What's wrong with you? You may one day find better fighters, but you can never in this lifetime find someone with the heart of the little guy. He was the champion so many times, not without a reason. He deserved it.
Fighting out of Houston, Texas, Charles "The Bronx" Olivera.
Jab, oh my!
Yeah, you got to be aware of the things he's going to do, but I can't focus on him too much because then you're going to be sitting there waiting on what he's going to do and you're not going to get off on what you want to do.
Big right hand from Olivera that rocked
Brookins. Easier to fight a guy that's more my height, you know, less range, stuff like that. But like you said, it's a new challenge, something I'm gonna have to. Hopefully, it'll make me better as a fighter overall after this fight because I'm preparing for something different.
Nasty right hand. He's landing combination after combination.
You make him pay on his misses, and that's something I do kind of make my money on, I guess you could say. So that's something I'm gonna do. I'm definitely gonna push the pace and try to wear him down.
Nice jab, better answer. Beautiful combination by Frankie.
I gotta sun him a little bit. You know what I mean? I want to go in there and show him, you know, who he's in there with, and make him remember when he leaves.
Yes.
He's gonna be hungry. He's a young kid, and you know, he's got a good future ahead of him. So I think what better way to try to make a statement against me? So I got to make sure that doesn't happen.
Another featherweight bout on the bill at UFC 162 sees the red-hot Cub Swanson go for his 5th consecutive victory inside of the UFC as he takes on the tough Dennis Sver, who is 2-0 since cutting down to 145. We hear from Cub Swanson as he prepares for July the 6th with Dennis Sver.
Me in the cage is just a sucker. It's my cage. I belong there.
Oh my! Cub Swanson took his head off.
You either hit hard or you throw a lot of punches. I want to hit you once and put you to sleep.
Crack. His legs just go. Check, please.
I'm not afraid of anybody standing. I know I can take him down. I know I can beat him up on the feet. I know I can take it anywhere. I'm trying to be more explosive, more accurate. I know 100% I can beat Dennis Sver. And my time is now. That's how you leave your legacy. You go out there and make it look pretty.
UFC bantamweight Misha Tate will follow in the steps of Gina Carano, Randy Couture, John Jones, and Ronda Rousey by posing for ESPN's annual Body Issue, which comes out July the 12th. Tate and Rousey are currently taping the 18th season of The Ultimate Fighter, which is going to debut September 4th on FS1 in the US, and then the two will fight for the title in December. Johnny Hendricks got his wish recently with the date announced for his welterweight title opportunity against George St-Pierre, as the two will meet November the 16th in Las Vegas. Hendricks was in Toronto this past weekend, and the game planning has already begun as Hendricks looks to end the 5.5-year title reign of St-Pierre.
He's an average person who has been keeping my belt safe. We know what he's going to do. He's going to jab, he's going to try to take me down, he's going to try to hold you down. Where on the totally opposite, I have wrestling, but I want to keep you on the feet. The only thing is, do we think that he's going to come out for the first 30 seconds and establish his jab, try to, or is he going to go out there and just try to take me down? And if he tries to jab me, I'll eat a jab to put my left hand on his chin.
When it was announced that Jake Ellenburgger would be fighting Rory MacDonald on July the 27th in Seattle, it wasn't thought to be anything more than a fight to keep both rising welterweights busy. However, the two have engaged in a lot of talk back and forth, with Ellenburgger clearly showcasing an attitude change when it comes to obtaining the spotlight and targeting the Canadian.
He's been invented by the media. He's been invented and sold to the fans, and no disrespect, he's a talented fighter. I do agree with that. He's skilled and he's got a lot of potential. But we don't know how good he is. I know I can beat anybody in the world, and I'm excited to face him.
At only 28 years of age, no one can accuse Gracie of not representing the family name well. The 4-time world BJJ champion and multiple-time Pan Am and Abu Dhabi champion recently spoke about making the transition many of her family members have made over to professional mixed martial arts, and Kira lets us know if that's an avenue she wants to explore.
That would be a good challenge in my life. You know, I've been competing jiu-jitsu since I started walking pretty much. You know, I won a lot of world championships and Abu Dhabis, so MMA would be a great challenge for me.
This past Saturday night, the Glory Kickboxing organization held their first event in the state of New York. Tyrone Spang emerged the winner of the one-night 8-man light heavyweight tournament and spoke with our own John Ramdine following his tournament win.
I'll fight anything, you know, I can make this weight pretty easy. I'm ripped. I'm pretty lean, so to drop to 209 was a little bit difficult, but not too hard. When people talk about kickboxing nowadays, they talk about me, so I don't need to call out nobody. They know I'm here. I'll fight anyone.
And that wraps up all of your Newsmakers. For all the latest headlines, you can head on over to fightnetwork.com, and we're taking a short break. But on the other side, Renzo Gracie is going to be heard from once again as John Ramdine and Robin Black are coming at you with another installment of 3 rounds as Fight News Now rolls on.
Anderson is a guy that rubs many people in the wrong way. Even though he may speak humbly when he talks, when he's in the ring, he doesn't act humbly. He puts down his opponents.
He's toying with him. He's definitely toying with him.
And by looking at that, we know it's wrong.
What is this?
Welcome back to the show. It's John Pollock here on Fight News Now, and we send it on over to John Ramdine and Robin Black as they present another edition of 3 Rounds.
Thanks, John. And of course, hearing from the legend Renzo Gracie, not a lot of great remarks about Anderson Silva, just kind of giving his 2 cents. And is it warranted, do you think?
Hey, man, that's not for me to say. I have no right to comment on Anderson Silva. Neither do you. And I don't know that Chris Weidman yet has even earned that right. But Master Renzo can say whatever Master Renzo wants. One of the greats ever in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, in the fight game, in mixed martial arts, a legend, a building block in the sport. And if he has something to say, he can say it. And, man, you got to see this whole interview. It's crazy. We're going to air it on 5 Rounds on Monday. Must see.
And I mean, I can understand from a certain standpoint. You just go and look at the fight with Stephan Bonner. Anderson Silva had him outclassed in every sense of the word, and he almost embarrassed the Ultimate Fighter runner-up.
Yeah, he clowned him. You know, is that acceptable? Is that something you can do what you like? You're the #1 guy in the world. You knock everybody out. You're the greatest fighter of all time. You can do whatever you want, and this is what you choose to do. And I think that's what Renzo's getting at. He's not saying you can't do it. He's not saying don't do it, but he's saying when you do it, we're going to judge you.
Renzo Gracie, of course, the jiu-jitsu coach, or one of the jiu-jitsu coaches of Chris Weidman, who will be challenging Anderson Silva for the middleweight championship of the world. He's also one of the BJJ coaches of the former UFC lightweight champion Frankie Edgar. We hear what him and Muay Thai coach Phil Nurse have to say about the former champion.
He only had battles. You didn't see one easy fight for him. Every fight, every BJ, every Maynard, everybody he went against was a battle. He was always the smallest guy. He could fight at 135.
He believes in us guys as coaches. And we definitely believe in him. We're not like, if we didn't, we wouldn't be giving him the right instruction. We're like, I don't know if he can pull this off, so I'm not going to coach him properly. Or vice versa. You know, if we're saying like, Frankie, do this, you'd be like, I'm not listening to him. I'll do my own thing. You got to believe in each other. And then at the end of the day, he's got to believe in himself.
And Robin, I don't think Frankie Edgar has any shortage of confidence, of course, being surrounded by some of the guys that he's surrounded with, whether it be Renzo Gracie, Roger Gracie, of course, Chris Weidman, Almeida, Phil Nurse, lots of guys. Mark Henry that he mentioned over and over again. So I think Frankie Edgar is just one of these guys that, you know, win or lose, is going to continue to improve and look to get a victory in his next fight, whereas Charles Olivera maybe kind of has his back up against the wall coming off that knockout loss to Cub Swanson. And, you know, very talented guy, only 23 years of age, but there's a huge difference. Olivera hasn't gone the distance since 2009, where Frankie Edgar, 6 of his past 7 fights have gone the distance a number of times, 5 rounds, and I think that will play a huge factor in this fight.
For sure. Number one, we always say, you know, what are you going to do? Are you going to entertain or win? Well, Frankie Edgar entertains automatically. Like, there's no such thing as a boring Frankie Edgar fight. So when he makes the decision to, you know, win rounds and be smart and move well and find a way to win this fight, he does it, you know, exciting by nature, automatically. So if he takes this into the deeper water, which he always does, which he can do, and it's like you said, it's 3 rounds instead of 5. He's been to decision at Baker's dozen times, and he has never, ever, ever been finished by anyone. And Olivera has been finished 3 times in his last 6 fights by 3 good fighters. But, you know, I think there's a difference here, and we've been talking about how much stress there is on Frankie Edgar, but you're right, the stress is on Charles Olivera.
And we know that Frankie Edgar training for this camp with Edson Barbosa, who's also on the card, peaking at the same time, kind of stylistically very similar to Charles Olivera. They're long, they're lean. As a matter of fact, Edson Barbosa has a 2-inch reach advantage on Charles Olivera, and I think that will serve Frankie Edgar very, very well.
Yeah, man, you nailed it. He is the perfect training partner, and even better that he's fighting on the same night, so they're coming up together, their periodization and all their training and their conditioning and all of that stuff, so they peak at the same time. And Olivera, on the other hand, is the best guy in his gym. He doesn't have an elite training partner or two. He certainly doesn't have anybody who can simulate, you know, the mobility and the movement and the boxing and even the takedowns, the full, well-rounded elite game of Frankie Edgar. So, right, there are a lot of reasons to bet your money on Frankie Edgar. But, you know, we know, man, this is a fight. Anything can happen. Things change on a dime.
Are you surprised in 2013 that fighters don't go to super camps, especially when they're training or they're fighting at the highest level, whether it be the Ultimate Fighting Championship or Bellator? The guys stay at their root gyms. A guy like Michael MacDonald, who doesn't train with the biggest names, can guys be successful by doing this?
You know, it was really, really cool to hear those interviews when coaches are talking about the belief they have in their fighters. We all know fighters need to believe in their coaches, but if a coach doesn't understand you and know exactly what your maximum that you can achieve is, he can't assign you the right things. And when you're the best guy in your own gym, you're your own coach, you're your own lawyer, you're your own decider, you know, and you're your best training partner, it's just not the same thing.
Do you think that Frankie Edgar is just going to force this fight down to the ground, or is he going to try to play the stand-up game, use what we've seen many times before from him, just in and out movement, just confuse Olivera through 3 rounds, or is it the type of thing he just puts this guy down and tries to attack on the ground?
Well, the one variable, the big variable in this one is that Olivera hasn't fought in almost a year, and Edgar and his guys are very smart to recognize that means he's going to be somewhat unpredictable. He'll come in with some new weapons. And so for Edgar, mobility is a key for sure. You know, hey man, Olivera has one decision ever. Take this guy into the second and third rounds. Make sure you're going to win the last 2 rounds. In the first one, move, be smart, do what you got to do. If you can get a takedown, get it. But Olivera needs the fight of his life to win this fight.
And I think that he's going to try to bring it to Frankie Edgar, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to. I mean, Renzo mentioned it before that he's never seen a fighter with as much heart as Frankie Edgar. You can knock him down a million times, but he's going to continue to get back up, and he's going to continue to move forward. And I don't know if Olivera's seen that type of pressure, and I don't know how well he's going to be able to respond to it.
We'll see. You know, this might be the turning point for him. He was undefeated until he got to the UFC, and then it's been a lot tougher. When we had Frankie on 5 rounds, we asked him, why do you have so much heart? Why can you take that? He's like, I don't know. That is just who the man is. So it's going to be an exciting fight.
UFC 162 really shaping up to be a tremendous card, Mr. John Pollock, and it's a lightweight fight I know you're going to love.
Thanks, guys, and don't forget to catch Ramdean and Robin Black every Monday night at 7 Eastern on Fight Network with 5 rounds. We're going to take a quick break, but still to come, we've got The Shift, where Chris Weidman is going to play movie critic, and this week's viral video is still to come, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Fight News Now. We've got a lot of cool stuff coming up this weekend for you, including a sit-down interview with former Strikeforce middleweight champion Kung Lee, as our own John Ramdean goes toe-to-toe with Lee this Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. But up right now, Priscilla Carapan has you covered on this week's installment of The Shift, and it's a packed edition this week.
Thanks, John. What's going on? Priscilla Carapan here with you, and we're about to show you a teaser from the latest MMA film that will be hitting theaters later this year. The film is called Tapped, and it features cameos from Anderson Silva, Lyoto Machida, and more. Check it out.
Let's go!
You ready?
The luck is strapped in. We getting wild in Moscow now. We keep going like Aspen. Trans-Siberian off the tracks and rolling like dice flying off the backhand. Previous, what's up? We did it come to snap. Nick, snap, Joe, we came to get bucked. My crew's big boots and track suits, loose drugs. Me and mom, street thugs, living it up. Joe, stop what you doing, man. Everybody get your hands in the Soviet tent. Now I'm trying to keep it moving, man. We come and kick your ass out like the rest of it.
All right, y'all. This is it.
Attack yourself at all time will be my command at all time. If you want to touch left, do it, and I'll go back to your corner. When you're ready, sir. You ready?
Director Ellenburgger and producer Michael Bean recently stopped by the Fight Network studios to chat about Tapped, and this is what they had to say about keeping the film true to MMA.
Well, I think that first and foremost, I think the thing to stay true to is the fighting. In this film, we really stayed true to the MMA style of fighting. We were able to utilize Anderson's abilities, utilize Lyoto's abilities. Christoph was even doing stunts at times just for himself because we wanted to stay as true as humanly possible. And when you honor the craft like that, I believe the fighters see that and they want to be part of an experience of a film that is true to their own craft.
Christoph even got involved in the choreography. I mean, my goal as a storyteller and as the filmmaker was to come in and keep this grounded. It's very simple. It's very realistic. So I think the MMA fans will be happy with it. I think we did them a good service. We went back to the roots a little bit with the Karate Kid and with Rocky. I mean, that was a huge influence for all of us. We grew up watching those films, and we really just wanted to modernize it a bit. We wanted to update it. Bring it. Bring into the new world and sort of, cater to what's trending now, what's popular. We really just wanted to have a story that people could, really find compelling and that had really good action.
Ramdeen recently caught up with UFC middleweight title contender Chris Weidman, who aims to be Anderson Silva's kryptonite at UFC 162. Here's what Weidman had to say about the film Man of Steel.
We see the Superman logo. We know that you saw the new Superman movie. Just give us your thoughts. Were you entertained?
I was entertained. Yeah, I really liked it. I don't think it really compared to the Batman's, but I think it was a really good movie. It's a superhero thing right now, and I'm more of a I'm like a Superman guy. I think I fit the mold. Someone sent me this shirt. That's why I'm wearing it, and I like it. I could be a good Clark Kent if I shave.
Hey Weidman, you want to send me a shirt? Well, that's it for the shift this week. Back over to you, John.
Thanks, Priscilla, and it's that time of the week where this show goes viral. What have we got for you this week? Well, words cannot describe this piece of internet art. Downward elbows, not that effective. And that wraps up another edition of Fight News Now. I want to thank all of our guests, including Renzo Gracie, Johnny Hendricks, Cub Swanson, Chris Weidman, and Ray Longo. Don't miss 5 Rounds. It airs every Monday night at 7 Eastern. You can also download the MMA Report with myself every Thursday at FightNetwork.com and subscribe on iTunes. On behalf of John Ramdeen, Robin Black, Priscilla Carapan, the entire Fight Network crew, I'm John Pollock, and we'll chat with all of you next week.
Chris Weidman Anderson.